Launch Director, NTD, our launch team is ready to proceed at this time.
Welcome back to the season finale for season 2 here at JMC. I'm doing a little bit of a more of a laid back here intro. I don't have all the lights and whatnot. I just wanted to kind of keep this genuinely raw, but still, something that you're used to. I am sitting in the seat that I've interviewed my guests in. The video content that I started the past few months that you see me sitting on, it's the same seat that I've sat on for all the other episodes that are audio only. So I thought it was fitting that I would be sitting in this chair. I hope all is well with you and yours. Getting ready for the summer. I am currently, sitting here the night before my family and I leave for vacation. I'm excited to spend some time with my wife, some R&R time, some time with my two oldest and my mom and stepdad. And I'm grateful to be sitting here right now, talking to you all. Got a lot of haziness right now in the air. If you're watching this, you know what I'm talking about. Or if you're listening to this, you know what I'm talking about as well. It's just kind of shitty, to be honest. The wildfires in Canada are just destroying the air quality here in the the northeast states. So, looking forward to kind of getting away from that for a little bit, if I'm allowed to say that. But don't mind me. I'm really relaxed right now. I've been really, working hard and enjoying it, but I'm realizing there's a lot of pent up, stress that goes with your everyday life, and then as you kind of get to the end of something, your body starts to decompress, and I just feel like my body started decompressing, even to the point where my lower back kind of went out on me earlier this week. Just like I feel like my body exhaled. It was like, oh, okay. And then I kind of threw my back out. That just means I'm out of shape. But nonetheless, let's get right into this episode because I don't really want to waste any time talking. I want to get right into it because yes, this is season 2 finale. And I wanted to speak to somebody that was not only worthy of the finale, but somebody that would really tie in what I'm trying to do with this podcast. And I did that. I got to speak with Fran Rodriguez, who came across my radar about 4 months ago. I started following her on the podcast. And then, after I talked with LaRock Hudson, he mentioned Fran and said, you really should talk to her and get her on the podcast. And absolutely, I reached out to Fran and I got her, and she was receptive and totally down. And let me tell you something: you don't know people, but you have like this vibe, this energy, this understanding. Like I felt like I've known Fran for a very long time, even though I met her for the first time when she came to my house. And Fran's a fan of the podcast, had been listening, and so I didn't really have to really explain what I'm trying to do. She understood completely, and she sat down, she made herself at home, and we had a great conversation. It's a very, very deep conversation about Fran, and there's so many more things that we could have gotten into and that we didn't get into, and that's life. You know. These interviews that I have with people, it's just a small window. But in the time that I had with Fran here for the hour that we talked. Getting to know her and understand her a little bit. This very strong Latina, free spirit, easygoing, embraces with so much love, leads with her heart, and she's no dummy. She's doing a lot of things, and I start the interview off discussing what she's done because it's impressive. And I don't know if it's the growing up with a mother who's Puerto Rican, my aunts obviously, right, Puerto Rican, my grandmother, seeing these strong women in my life. I kind of lean towards that a little bit. And I mean, even my wife is a phenomenally strong Latino woman. So when I met Fran, I immediately clicked with that energy that she has, and I honored it, and I embraced it. And she shared so much. She has no problem shooting the shit, really, and just being transparent. And so I hope you enjoy this season 2 finale. Just a very humble, laid back approach to life, which everybody, one way or another, can take something from that. They should take something from that and apply it to their own life. Humble yourself, love yourself. Don't take yourself too seriously, but be proud of who you are. This is the balancing act. And I think when you find who you are and you love what you're doing, then all of that shit comes easy. You don't really have to think about it. It's like breathing. You just do it. And so with that being said, let's get to it. One final note, though. I do want to thank everybody. I'm putting equipment away for these 2 months, and I'm going to be doing a lot of reading and some work for the podcast. There's a lot of things I've got up my sleeve, and we'll get to that in a few months. But for those of you that have taken your time to stop by my home for season 2, thank you. And I look forward to sharing a post on my socials and reaching out to you all and thanking you all in that regard, like I did last year. But I just want to say thank you. Thank you for allowing me to share a bit of your journey this season. And those that are listening, thank you. All of you that are listening, thank you. There's some day ones that are watching and listening to this podcast. I know who you are, and I'm grateful for your support this entire year. It has been hard. Damn. But fuck, man, I'm grateful. And with that, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do it. It's been hard, but I'm grateful. And as cringy as it was sharing a lot of the raw emotions of my father passing, I got a lot of feedback from people for that episode. So thank you. Thank you for helping me through that. And just continue being you, whoever you are. And I'll see y'all in September, right? But first things first, episode 68 with Fran Rodriguez is coming up next. Season 2 finale. This is Fran's journey. These are the Journeyman Chronicles. Let's go.
very excited for this interview. This will be my season 2 finale.
Finale.
You'll be the finale.
Gosh.
Yeah, I did. I have like I don't what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word. I'm drawing a blank, but I have like these little things that I like. I don't want to set myself up to get jinxed. So I didn't want to say anything. You know, I didn't want to like disrupt the energy, because I was originally going to be like, you're going to be in my season 2 finale, and then I was like, nah, let me just let it be.
I love that.
Yeah, because I don't know what it is. I'm always like, no, you know, like I've had to cancel on several people in the past because, you know, stuff comes up.
Right.
So I was like, no, let me not do that. I'll jinx it. But yeah, you're going to be my season 2 finale. So I've got one more that I'm working on right now, and then you'll be it. And then I'll be done for 2 months. Taking a break. I'm going to.
Well deserved.
Yeah. Thank you. I've spoke about it in a reel or two that I need to, you know, pump the brakes a little bit. And my wife she's a ride or die, and she doesn't complain.
You have a gem.
Thank you. I do.
A rare gem.
No, I know. I'm super grateful, and I count my blessings every day, because we complement each other so well, and I don't ever have to work to get anything with her. It just comes naturally, and so I'm thankful. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I'm grateful. So let's get started, because I'm about to do something I've never done. And the only reason why I'm doing it is because when I mentioned I wanted to do a season 2 finale, I wanted to speak to somebody that's like, you know, I wanted a powerhouse of a guest. And when we started talking, I was like, Fran is it. So what I want to do now is I want to list off some things here, because I typically don't. I'll do a little research, and I'm sure you've heard this already.
Yes.
But I'm looking, and I'm like, I gotta talk to Fran here, because let me name off some things real quick here.
Okay.
Senior Program Officer for Lancaster County Community Foundation, President for League of Women Voters of Lancaster County, Campus Coordinator, Project Grad USA, Chief of Staff, State Representative Michael Sterla, graduating with a Master's in Human Services from Lincoln University. So the reason why I'm bringing this up, I've never really done this before, but typically I'll go, okay, why don't we talk about what you're doing? But what are you not doing, Fran? That's pretty much what.
I'm all over the place.
Your hands are everywhere.
You know, that's what keeps my life interesting. I can say I've been criticized for doing too much, but at the same token, I see all the things that I do necessary.
Yeah.
So that others can, you know, find their way, find a path.
Yeah. Is that your drive?
It is.
That was my first question for you, is what's the drive?
It is.
Yeah. Being of service.
You know, when I was a young girl growing up in Brooklyn, my older brother, Jesse, he would tease me and call me Nancy Drew.
Okay.
Because I always found things to investigate.
Yeah.
You know, I made everything like an adventure. Mm. And I find my life pretty much an adventure.
Yeah. You said Nancy Drew. I actually grew up, I remember reading the Hardy Boys and the Nancy Drew books. I was into that.
Oh,
detective.
geez.
Yeah. Once you said that, I was like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. So let's start here then, Brooklyn. I did see that you're from New York. When about did you move did you come straight here from Brooklyn?
So my mom was pretty much una aventurera, as I like to call her.
Yeah.
She was also into adventure. And she's originally from Caguas, Puerto Rico.
Okay.
My older sister built a house in Washington Borough, Millersville. And that kind of became, I don't know, the
place where everyone from New York and visitors from Jersey, whatever, we would always land at her house.
Gotcha.
And yeah, my mom fell in love with Lancaster. I hated it.
Yeah.
Love and hate relationship, still true.
I think a lot of us can agree with that, though.
I want to figure that phenomenon out. Like, what the heck is the formula?
What's pulling you in and then pushing you away?
Why? Yeah, anyway. So I feel like I got here probably in the 70s. It was all countryside. I remember that. All of the development that we see today did not exist.
Yeah.
And then the love and hate relationship started to really pop off in the 80s. And I'd go back to Brooklyn and come back, go to the Bronx, come back, go back to the Bronx. So it was,
Back and forth.
back and forth.
Yeah.
It was the birth of my daughter, Ava, that I think really pulled me back here.
Okay.
And kept me here.
She was born here?
She was born in Bronxville,
Okay.
near Yonkers.
Yeah.
But we came here when she was 5 years old.
Okay. And so was it the keeping her somewhere where she was consistently growing up in the same environment? Yeah.
Yes. And being able to actually like earn a living, pay rent, and not be broke.
Yeah.
Because that's all I did in New York was work to pay rent and daycare. That's it.
Okay, so this, when I started the conversation with, the many things that you've done and are doing and how you were involved in so many ways, that wasn't always the case for you until you came here?
Yeah.
You really?
I really feel that, first of all, being a single mom and advocating for your kid and yourself in a predominantly white environment, you either build up some badass like advocacy skills, or you remain quiet. You're passive, and I feel like I had to find my path amongst the Catholic school. PTO and navigating that whole thing. That's where it happened for me.
That's where it started?
Yeah.
People were getting to know who you were through the PTO meetings and whatnot. How were you involved in that?
So quiet as it's kept. Resurrection Catholic School. When my Ava was in probably the 3rd grade, I couldn't believe that the girls had to be outside in the freezing cold with the uniforms.
Yeah.
Some of them didn't wear tights. They were just knee-high socks. And I pulled together a bunch of parents and we advocated for the girls to be able to wear sweatpants, or I don't even think, they were sweatpants underneath their skirts. And then we changed like the whole color scheme of the uniforms.
Wow.
And it worked.
You would think something that would already be. It's a shame that you had to advocate for something that seems so simple, like they're out in the cold with skirts.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I also developed like a reputation of being a troublemaker.
Okay, because you were shaking things up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't like it back then, but I love it now.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure. At that time, and I can somewhat relate to that, not directly, but my mom taught kindergarten resurrection for
really?
Yeah. Rosa, then it was Rosa Arroyo, now she's Rosa Santiago. She formerly Rosa Melendez. And my mom was the type that would speak up. So growing up, and I'm curious to get your perspective because this ties into the point I wanted to make as well. Where it's a culture shock, I would think, coming from New York to
Yes.
Lancaster County. You mentioned farmland.
Big time.
You have this culture shock of a predominantly white environment, shaking up things at Resurrection. What I saw my mom and my aunts and even my grandparents do when they first came here was shake things up in their own way. And it was almost like they were just doing things the right way to a degree that people were like, hey, wait a minute, you ain't supposed to be doing that.
Right.
You know what I mean? But they did. So being a Latina, coming from New York, seeing this vast, did you recognize that right away? Like this, were you hip to the culture shock?
I stood out.
Yeah.
Felix, like to have an accent and be surrounded by people who could like pick you out because you sounded different.
Yeah.
That to me was, it was a culture shock, but it was also like this intimidating thing that I needed to somehow change for myself. And so I worked really hard on getting rid of the accent.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never thought of someone doing that, but it makes sense.
Yeah. Just to fit in.
Yeah. Well, you hear a lot of stories like that, like, with Latinos or even like immigrants of any nation where it's like they change their name. Martin Sheen. I think of Martin Sheen right away,
Right.
changing his name. Estevez was his last name. I can't quite remember what his first name was at the time, but
It was very Latino sounding,
yeah.
right?
So it's like doing what you got to do to get in,
Right.
and fit in. But I kind of lean back to your comment when you said having your daughter kind of put you in a position where, do you feel that had you not had children, would there be a push to I mean, I guess maybe in a different way, Resurrection
Perhaps.
School maybe not, but maybe in another way.
Perhaps.
So that move here, even though the culture shock was what it was and it's a love-hate relationship, it obviously put you in a position to find who you were
Yeah.
deep down inside.
There's something about our kids, you know this, and your wife knows this. You mess with my girls,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
we become this different personality. We turn into the Hulk-like version of ourselves, right?
Yeah. Unapologetic.
And I could say in a couple of instances that Ava saved my life
Yeah.
in terms of leaving an abusive marriage, bringing her here, and actually like me finding my voice by way of advocating for her.
Yeah. So you left an abusive relationship, a marriage in New York. So you moved here
Yes.
as a single mom.
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It was
It's a lot.
life-saving.
Yeah. It's not the first story I've heard like that. And I'm empathetic when I hear like the story of women that are leaving abusive relationships. And then it's like a minority woman who is coming into an environment that is not surrounded by people that are representative of her
Right.
or him. The strength, it's like, wow, and again, I have to remind myself, like, I've seen this in my family firsthand. And so I guess when I think about it, like, yeah, I guess I could, like, the strength of a woman, the courage to, like you said, the protective nature
Yes.
of a mother, to be like, I'm going to deal with this, but not you.
Not.
Yeah.
That is like,
It turns on, like, yeah.
it's like a light switch, actually. I would never have imagined staying in a situation that would put her in harm's way. Yeah, it's hands down. I would never. So she saved my life.
Beautiful. So the PTO experience comes into play now. Is this the beginning of what we're looking at now? Like, how does what comes next? Like, how does this begin? Do you start talking to different people, rubbing elbows?
Rubbing elbows to get in the room.
Yeah.
And when I'm in the room, then finding what is it in the room that I want to change or be a part of, or so I just, stay back and observe, which is pretty much my personality.
Yeah.
I'm an introvert until it's time to get on stage, and then, we do all that, and then it's like, okay, I gotta go now.
Yeah.
It's like an alarm clock.
Yeah.
Like, I know exactly when I need to get out to get my energy back.
Yeah. Yeah. I can relate to that 1,000%.
Are you an introvert?
1,000%. And the irony is that I do the podcast. So my wife is saving my life in that, because she's the extrovert. She's the one that's,
I can tell.
oh my goodness. And when I met her, I was like, there's parts of her that remind me of my mother, where my mother was that person. She's ready to go.
Yeah.
And so I have that ability to, all right, we're going to turn it on. I can do it. Mm-hmm. And you're right. It's almost like it hits.
Clockwork.
Yeah. And I have a hard time sometimes, like, not showing that. So she's been working with me because there's times where I'm like, I'm sorry, but I hit the wall.
Yeah.
So this is interesting then, because everything that I'm seeing, it doesn't say introvert. So like, how do you honor? Because I do believe that as an introvert, you have, like you said, you got to honor that, because you need to replenish that energy. So what are you doing in between your out in the stage moments?
I love quietness at home. I mean, I've been single for many years by choice. And I believe that, quietness with yourself, not only it's healing, it gives you a perspective of who you are. And, excuse me.
Oh, forgive me.
It's okay. And it helps me to regain the energy that I've exerted, out in the world all day. I couldn't imagine living in a city again, like going back to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming now.
Yeah, I would think.
Yeah. And so retreating to my home and soothing music, of course.
Yeah.
And just reflecting on what the day has brought on.
That's cool.
That's what I do. I don't have some, exciting jet set life. No.
No, but that I can appreciate it.
And it's good enough for me.
Yeah.
Because here's the other thing. When you pour love and yourself into other people, into things, and it actually is making a difference, you get to kind of live vicariously through, the eyes and the actions of other people. And to me, that has been the most fulfilling thing as of late.
So your cup is filling in that regard? Mm-hmm. That's cool.
And it's enough for me.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for a lot of people. It's not conventional.
How do you mean?
So lately, the buzzwords have been, trauma or healing, and not overdoing, overexerting.
Gotcha.
Making sure that your cup is full, taking breaks. And for me, the energy that I guess I give out to others, it bounces off. Like, their joy is my joy. Whenever someone is succeeding, I feel lifted. I feel light. And I guess my hope is that they feel the same thing.
Yeah.
Because it's an investment. I mean, when you think about finances, how you make an investment in things, you invest in stocks or whatever. The same could be said about how you invest generosity of heart.
Okay.
And what you give is an abundance of love. You can't put a price on love.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a pretty cool way of looking at it. I never really thought about that. Is there ever a catch-22 in that regard then? When somebody is feeling the opposite, are you then absorbing that energy as
Yes.
well? Okay, yeah.
And that's when the cup needs to be full.
Okay.
For me, my cup.
To handle those moments.
Exactly.
Wow.
So I do an about face, and I usually can pick up when something is not being well received, or
Okay.
it's just not working.
Yeah.
And that's when I need to walk away.
Okay, I was just getting ready to say, how do you handle it? You know when to walk away. Is there ever a moment where you're diving in even more to?
No.
No. This goes back to energy, and I actually have an episode dedicated to energy in the very beginning of the podcast and I believe in that.
Yes.
Like I need to protect my energy.
Yes.
And so I'm assuming that's what you're referring to there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, honoring that.
I have an intuitive soul, I believe. I can pick up when people are either aren't open or we're just not matched to work together, be together, do whatever it is.
Yeah.
I can pick it up.
Yeah.
And I listen to my intuition
Cool.
a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a couple moments when I was younger where I was, I guess that's when I learned about honoring my intuition. Just the simple things like being in a diner or a restaurant, and then kind of like walking in there with a group of my friends and be like, something's about to happen here. And then or something doesn't feel right and a fight breaks out like 5 minutes. It's almost like, wow, these are moments. I try to teach my kids this, and it's difficult because my kids aren't in a place, and rightfully so, they're kids, they're 16, 20. I wasn't thinking like that at that age, but I'm like, you got to pay attention to your gut. Like your gut, your intuition, it's telling you something. I don't know what it is, but just be hip to that frequency, that energy.
When did it first happen for you? Can you recall when?
Yeah, that was that was probably I had experiences similar to that, and they were in my early 20s. Now, it probably happened before that. I never really put two and two together enough to really recall it. But
yeah.
That was the first time where I remember thinking to myself, like, I remember bringing it up to somebody that I was with as it happened. I was like, I literally thought I felt something, and they looked at me like I was crazy. And I think I kind of even like brushed it off, like, yeah, you're right. But as I got older, and maybe you have had this experience where the older you get, the more you look back and you're like, wow, there was a lot of red flags. Yeah, like I felt it every single time.
Yep. You
have to honor that. You have to pay attention to that. And some people don't like to dive into things like that.
They get all spooked out.
Yeah.
I'm superstitious.
That's the word I was thinking of earlier.
I am very spiritual in nature, but not with regard to religion.
Mm-hmm.
And my gut instinct, I think, stems from the superstitious upbringing.
You had a superstitious upbringing?
So I have a brother, and my mom was pretty much, they believed in the spirits.
Yeah.
My brother has taken me as a young girl to a seance.
Okay.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
That was scary as shit.
I'm sure it was. How old were you?
About 11.
Wow. That's young. Yeah.
In Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you understand what you were experiencing at 11 years old?
Not at all. I knew that my brother had friends that they were obviously different.
Sure.
I could tell. And they scared me. And he just said, yeah, we're going to this place. You're going to go sit down. And that's what I did. I sat and watched.
Wow. No clue?
No clue.
Wow. But has that left an imprint on you?
It has.
Yeah, I was about to say, because children, whether they know what's going on or not, they're impressionable.
Yep.
So I have family members that have had experiences similar.
Yeah.
And it's always like they're the people that I gravitate towards the most. Conversations are deep. We always engage on good terms no matter what. When we haven't seen each other for a while, we vibe like nothing. You get that energy. And when you brought up the spirituality, not so much the religion, but just more the spirituality, I can understand that. I grew up Catholic in church, and I went to church, and then when I became like a young adult, I turned 19 when I graduated from Catholic High. That was the last time I really consistently went to church, and I know it bothered my mom and especially my dad, but I was just like I felt like a need where I wanted to live my life on. I don't know what it was. I just wanted to live my life
On your own terms.
Yeah, and I have these conflicting moments now as an adult where I'm like, maybe I should go back to church. And we try because there's something that I've learned, and I can't put my finger on it, is that and maybe it's because I'm conditioned, but even though I don't agree with everything that I'm hearing, I find peace in something that I was used to doing.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, well, if that's the case, then let me do what I do here and connect the way I need to connect. And I find that comforting for me. And so it's almost like I kind of like humble myself in a way where it's like, I don't want to find the answers because that's a game that I hate playing.
You're not going to find it.
No. Yeah. So I guess that to tie into what you were saying, and forgive me for rambling.
It's okay.
But it's like the vibe of the vibe. It's like the energy. It's there's times where I meet people and I'm like, this is good. And then there's times where I meet people and I'm like, no,
yes,
I need to stay away from you. Stay away from my family. That
yes.
type of energy. So you're an introvert, but everything that we're discussing is it's not so much the life of an introvert in a way, and it's very you're dedicating a lot of your energy. What is your day like, if you don't mind me asking?
My day. I used to be a morning person. So when I say morning person, I mean, those folks who love getting up at the crack of dawn. They have a cup of coffee and they're like, bring it on, world. I could do anything right now. That used to be me. Yeah. I would do my little salsa in the morning. I'd be all full of energy.
Whoa.
I'm 60. And that morning life has totally flipped for me. I love the morning. I love the smell of hot coffee. But I love moving at a pace that it really frames the rest of the day for me. To not go fast. To take many more pauses. To reflect and write. So I could say between probably 7 a.m. and 9. I'm doing just that.
Okay.
Just pacing myself. And then I have an hour and a half to hurry up and get my ass ready.
Yeah, you find yourself like, okay,
And
I'm wasting a lot of time.
I then become that, that cyclone that needs to move fast. Like, go, go, go. I don't know why the hell I do that.
I do that
Why?
myself.
It's like exciting and manic, but but typically, my day job, which we won't go into full detail, is exciting and exhausting. It's fun work, but it's hard work.
Yeah.
And being a woman of color in philanthropy it's a conundrum, dude. It's it's like a tennis match as well. You know, I'm back and forth and back and forth, and I have an end game. I have in mind what it is that I'm there for. And at the end of the day, I'm there for us.
Mm.
It's not for my career. I see it as part of my legacy as well.
Yeah.
Because breaking ground on anything that does not include people who look like you and me, like those, going back to the little rebel that Nancy drew, you know, the mom and the PTO wanting to change the rules. So that's what brings me joy every day.
Yeah.
Making a difference so that our families can have access to things.
Yeah. Yep. I completely understand that. And I feel like the little things that bring you joy, like how many of those can I get in a day? And then I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
When I tell my kids, you know, if you can sleep at night, then you're good. If you can't sleep at night, something's wrong. Figure it out. I've learned for myself the past year. I was just thinking about it. I just a year ago this past week, I left FedEx Freight. I worked for FedEx for 11 years.
Wow.
Miserable. As a dock worker. 10 to 12-hour shifts. Came home tired.
Mm-hmm.
You work with the heat. You work with the cold. That type of life. I worked on the dock. I say all that to say that this past year, I've been like, man, I've been really blessed. I took a huge pay cut. It was a risk, but I had a 9-to-5 type schedule, Monday through Friday, as opposed to Tuesday through Saturday. And I was like, let me just get that little thing there of quality life with my family. I don't want to be tired. So when my kids are talking to me, I'm snapping on them. It's not their fault.
It is.
You know what I mean? And it's very humbling when you have children that you experience these moments, because like they're like, they don't, first of all, they didn't ask to be here, but like they're so understanding, my children. Like, I don't know how many kids are like that, where it's like, it's all right, Dad. When my son would say to me, he'd start talking and he'd look at me and go, is it okay to talk to you, Dad?
Wow.
That's when I knew that there was a problem.
Yes.
Oh, are you tired, Dad? And it broke my heart.
Children are so forgiving.
Yeah. Oh my God. But yeah, it's like
you could be the most horrible person and they'll forgive you.
It's like, what did I do to deserve that? So the little things, like, let me just get these little nuggets of like peace and happiness, and then like things really start evolving. But the thing I'm learning is like to ride the wave and to just appreciate it. And like the podcast for me is like, it makes me happy. I have an end game. Will it happen? I don't know, but I love doing this. And so I can appreciate when you say, like, I wanted to take it slow in the morning, because that's what I like doing too.
Yep.
Take it slow in the morning.
It makes a difference. And at every, I feel, stage in our life, there's a need to switch.
Yeah.
To pivot and to look at things differently, because the priorities change as well, right?
Yeah.
Right now, your girls, God bless them, they're at a tender age, and before you know it, they're going to grow up, and it'll be at the blink of an eye, trust. So the moments that you have now they're precious, and I would say, like, hold on tight.
Oh, absolutely.
Until it's time to loosen, right? Because eventually we need to let them find their way.
Hey, go ahead. I joke around. I have a soon-to-be 21-year-old. I'm like, baby, when you move out, let me know, because this room will be perfect for an office. And it's become a joke. But then there's times where I'm like, I really need to stop, because when my daughter moves out, I'm going to cry like a little baby. You know what I mean?
Of course you are. But she might take you up on that thing about this being an office. And then when it's time for her to come and say, Dad, I think I'm ready for the office.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Maybe I should rethink the way I joke around with my kids. Sheesh. this brings up a point that I wanted to bring in when you said pivot. Because I was curious, how do you handle things that change? Are you the type of person that likes things, a routine, there's an order to things, or do you just go with the flow and whatever happens, you rock and roll with it?
I have a flow. I love organization. And it's not a thing that I force upon people. Most people who know me understand like the madness to my method.
Yes.
And the fact that I like creating a welcoming environment for people. So welcoming that they can step into whatever it is that we're doing and feel comfortable enough to do what they came to do. And I can also switch up. I can understand that, you have one chance to do things, but if it doesn't go right, then you know what? Get pissed off, break shit, cry, scream. Tomorrow's another day.
Yeah.
Get to try again tomorrow.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. I've learned that. That's a difficult thing to do though.
It is.
When you're passionate about stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Disappointment, I feel, has been my greatest teacher. Because I don't know, most of the things that I've done in my life can be attributed to me not having things or me, what might appear to be working super hard to getting it. But I have no regrets over anything that I've done that was met with failure. I remember working for State Representative Mike Sturla, and I feel like my time working with him. So first of all, let me back up.
Yeah, how did that come about, if you don't mind me asking?
It was such a beautiful time period. Like, when I think about happy moments and times,
yeah,
that time, that era was perfect. Norman Bristol Colon and I were helping to run then Mayor Rick Gray's campaign.
Okay.
And he wanted so desperately to get to know the Latino community in Lancaster. What should I wear? What should I say? What should we do? Blah, blah. And we stepped in and just really embraced this man in terms of, his want to win. And he won. And every politician gets with other politicians and they make these deals,
yeah,
these agreements.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to be the mayor's chief of staff. But it turns out that the woman who was his campaign manager was working for Mike Sturla. She went with the mayor, and then the deal was that I would go with Mike Sturla.
Gotcha.
And that's not what I wanted, but I feel like that deal really helped me, number one, to work directly with the community in a district office that taught me a great deal, and also helped me to be at 3 different events that Senator Barack Obama was when he visited.
Yeah.
Like, those opportunities don't just come, at any moment. And I'll never forget that.
Wow.
It was beautiful.
I thought of pivot when you said that's not what I wanted. It's almost like you pivoted and you took it. And
And so that's a really good example of sometimes what you're looking for comes in ways that you're not.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's like you have to train yourself to embrace things that are coming.
Yep.
That are coming in the form of what you may not be expecting, because it's on the other side of that.
And patience. Like, patience will get you there. But some people are just so hungry and they want it now.
Yeah.
And they want it that way. And that's the only way.
Yeah.
Then you end up with nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's easy. I shouldn't say easy. It softens the burden or softens the blow of being impatient when you're in the process of loving whatever it is you're doing, instead of just like looking at the end result. Enjoy the process.
Yes.
Embrace the process. And then like patience kind of comes because you're not really paying attention to time. You're in the moment.
Right.
So that's what the vibe I'm getting is like everything that you're doing. It seems like you get lost in the moment of it. Do you ever experience that where it's like, wow, like do you reflect on what you've done, or do you just kind of keep it pushing and stay in that moment?
I reflect more often than not after like an incredible experience that I didn't plan for.
Okay.
And there's something that I've shared. I shared last week, and I actually wrote about it with regard to my mother. So she died at 96, and we always had like this very complicated relationship. I didn't like her growing up.
Okay.
She had me very late in life, and I don't feel like she understood me.
Okay.
And it turns out that I ended up taking care of her,
Wow.
during her last year of life. And there was, it was 2015, and I appeared on the cover of a magazine, and I took it to her at the nursing home. And I said, I brought you something to look at. And she took it from me and looked at it. She's flipping through the pages, and she said, this was not supposed to happen to you. And I immediately thought, okay, she's saying that I didn't deserve this. But what she meant was, given all the shit I put you through, everything that you didn't have access to, this happened to you.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was a moment in my relationship with her that was probably me forgiving her and her saying, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Or even being in a place where you could understand what she was saying, because that could have easily been misunderstood.
Yes.
But you understood what she was saying.
Exactly.
It's like the rose from the concrete metaphor, where it's like,
yes,
that's not supposed to be there, but here you are. Mm-hmm. That's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And my condolences on your mom. I didn't, I do a little research, but I lost my father this past Christmas, and so it's that relationship that you mentioned, where it's kind of like, it's a give and take.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I can understand that, and relationships in life. And I'm sure you experience this with what you're doing, because you're meeting and you're coming across a lot of people. So you're embracing, you're building relationships. There's a lot of emotional endurance and a lot of give and take emotionally.
Yeah. I love hard though.
Okay.
It's who I am.
So it's either all or nothing.
All or nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's tough love from my perspective. I'm sure that people that I've mentored will probably attest to that. Like I tend to push people to the edge
Yeah.
because I know that they have what it takes to get there. But I also understand and realize that it's me probably pushing, the young woman, the girl
Yeah.
who could have used that push from a sibling or, a parent.
Yeah. Is it lost on you? Well, it probably isn't, but I want to ask this anyway. The work that you're doing and, being of service for people of color to be put in places and learn and to be offering your help in the way that you are, is it lost on you the impact that you're having or the way that you are using yourself as a vessel?
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? Like sometimes people don't realize how important they are, and it's almost like, oh, I don't want to, and it's self-defeating behavior that I'm guilty of. Because my wife will bring it up to me, and I'm like, I don't know. I let other people, so I don't like doing that. But it's important, I know that, to say, I am contributing in a very specific way. I would think that you are aware of how important the work that you're doing.
I see it. I saw it last night, actually. Like there was a memory that came up on my Facebook page of that year, 2015 again, with the Latino Empowerment Project, the class that graduated. Like that was the class that was the tipping point for me to realize the impact of my investment in that program and that program itself making a difference in people's lives. And yet, I was treating it as, whatever. It's this thing I do every spring. Yeah. But it's so much more than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It gives me chills often to understand that the blood family that I wanted never happened. And it's probably by reason that the community family I have has quadrupled. And so that's my family.
Yeah.
My community is my family.
When you say your blood family didn't happen in regards to your immediate family?
Immediate. Because, so imagine, the black sheep that people typically describe. I was the seventh child to be born out of an extramarital affair. My mother was a widow. She was a socialite, in the project. She used to have these card games, and she fell in love with a married man. And her children were grown already. So here I come. And I am closer in age with my nieces and nephews. So the sibling, what people typically have with their siblings, that relationship, I never had.
Gotcha.
They were more like my titis and tios, adults in my life. And it's so ironic that most of the relationships that I have now, like I don't have relationships with people my age, like 65-year-olds. I'm surrounded by 30 and 40-year-olds.
Yeah.
And the energy is just, it's beautiful.
Yeah. I got to be honest with you, Fran. I didn't say this because I didn't want to interrupt you, but I was a little caught off guard when you told me your age. I wasn't expecting you. And maybe that's like the conditioned
people are just think of that number and go, but my mom's 60, she'll be 67, and I don't look at her like, you know what I mean? And so I think you are reflecting the energy that you're surrounding yourself with.
Yes.
When it comes to your mom, what I was thinking is, did you ever come to the point where you understood that when you mentioned that you forgave her in that moment, was there a point where you were empathetic, understanding of where she was and why she couldn't give you what you needed, or did you never come to that point?
No, I'm still working on that. Yeah. I think of my mother often, and the spiritual nature of my belief. It keeps me connected to her. So mom was a seamstress. She never went to school. She taught herself to read. And I believe that I acquired her love of, connecting things, putting things together. And whenever I get into that mode, my quietness at home, when I have like the need to pick up a needle and thread to mend something, I know that she's with me. I spook people out when I say that sometimes, but I don't give a shit.
People get spooked out just by something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because I'm just so used to, I speak the same way. That's weird to me.
Yeah. People who know what that feels like and what it means, it's not a scary thing, but I know when she's with me.
But it sounds like you are on that path of, you may not be there, but you're headed in that direction to get, you understand what I'm saying? Where there's a lot of people that don't get even there.
I know, because they want to bury it somewhere and make it go away. It doesn't go away.
Yeah.
That shit will follow you.
Yeah. I think that's what I'm learning with my dad, where I think I have to admit that there's some things that I'm not understanding. I feel like I understand things with our relationship, and I keep coming up with blanks on some things, and it's like I think I really need to, and that's something I want to do this off season, is really kind of like that. I have to go back and experience what happened here, and try to understand. I never knew my dad, and like I feel like I knew my dad more when I was a child, but as an adult, I think he backed off, and so there's a lot of things that I'm trying to figure out. And so when you mentioned your mom, I was curious, like, what was that experience for you? And so I appreciate you being very candid, because it's easy to go like, oh yeah, no, I completely understood and I forgave her, but no, it's a process that some people don't get to quite easily.
Right. Yeah. I'm working on it through therapy, through journaling, because that's it's a soothing and it's a soothing way to release what's in your head, in your heart. You put it on paper, and eventually when you go back to read the things that you felt on any particular day, that's groundbreaking, because it helps you to put pieces together. It's like a huge puzzle of different thoughts that you've released on paper. Try it.
Yeah, I've thought of it, but I always felt, this comes back to the superstitious comment, where I was like, are you supposed to go back and read, or do you just unload and then keep it moving? Maybe I'm scared of the thought of, let me go back and read what I was dealing with at this time, because it's like, do I want to revisit that? But you're saying for you it was instrumental, and
I don't know, I must be a masochist for pain and torture. Because I like opening up. It's almost like opening up your chest, your heart.
Yeah.
And when you want to find the answer, that's the shit we got to go through.
Yeah.
Because nothing nothing that's that important for us is going to be easy. It's not going to be given to you.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Your career in your life now at the moment, and where usually I wrap up my interviews. I'm sure you're aware of asking the question of what's the game plan here for Fran Rodriguez. Are you? Because there's a lot of different things that you've done already. I'm like, is there anything that you haven't done? I keep going back to that. I mean,
I'm sure that there's plenty. There's one thing that's fun on my list that I want to do. I shared it with the group of Baldwin leaders that celebrated on May the 5th.
Yeah.
Because there was a comedian in the room. I have this fantasy of going somewhere outside of Pennsylvania and doing an open mic.
Look at that.
And just being raw. No one knows me, so I can talk a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Like that would absolutely bring me joy.
Nice.
Yes.
On what level? On a more of a comedic level?
Yeah,
Yeah,
comedic.
Okay.
Because I've been told that I'm funny. I've been told, like, did you just say that? Yeah, I did. Like, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a 30-year-old Ava, and she also has a love-hate relationship with Lancaster. She left like 2 weeks after graduating from McCaskey.
Okay.
And hasn't been back since, except once. I don't know. I have this fantasy that she gets married and has a baby, and I become a grandmother.
Okay.
I wish that would happen. Other than that, I don't know. Like, retirement is not in the near future. Staying healthy.
Yeah.
Eventually getting these braces off of my teeth so I can smile.
Okay.
I don't know. Meeting a great partner. Writing a memoir.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I'm looking at writing a book.
Yes.
Yeah. So writing a memoir, that would be a phenomenal. I think that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would love that.
I think you should do that.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah, you should. There's so many different and I've said this before on the podcast, like this is only a small window, that we get to do here, but
yes,
I think that there's so much more obviously that you could talk about in the different career paths that you have, the different relationships that you've made. There's a lot of great stories that I'm sure that you have yet to share with anybody.
I have a lot to write about, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this was definitely, I love this conversation. I'm really, really grateful.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Because, this really is the goal of the podcast, is like to engage in conversations like this. So this goes back to the energy comment we made earlier, where it was like, I just had a feeling, when I reached out and you were on board, I was like, I got a feeling this is going to be a great conversation. And it was. I'm really, really grateful that you were able to come through. I know you're busy. But thank you. Thank you so much for coming by.
It's been an honor. I have never enjoyed a conversation that was recorded as much as I have this evening.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to do my best. I don't think I'm going to have to do much editing, to be honest. I think usually I'm like this. I'm worried about how I breathe into the mic, or I think everything went smoothly. The low key, I didn't say anything in the beginning because I didn't want to jinx myself, but there's a fly that I couldn't get out of here.
I haven't seen it.
I saw it like 20 minutes ago for the first time. For like an hour, I was trying to get it before he showed up, and I just prayed. I said, Lord, if I can't get this fly now, just don't let it interrupt the interview. Don't go on the camera lens. So
I saw it once, but hey, I think we're okay. We're good.
Thank you for distracting it, because I didn't even see it.
I kind of was like, man, do I like attack the fly now so I know it's gone, or do I just let it go? And I said, I'll just let it go. So
Congratulations.
thank you.
And I'm so proud to be your season finale.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what's coming up.
I'm putting myself in a position to honor this a little bit more, and things have been happening, so I'm just riding the wave. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you being a part of it. Season finale, season 2 is done.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's it.
That's it.
That is it.
Did it.
Fran, thank you so much for stopping by JMZ. This Journeyman Chronicle experience for season 2 is now complete, now that you have busted with your presence. I'm grateful. Thank you so much. Like I said, and I meant it, even though I just met you, I felt like I knew you already. You have that type of vibe, you have that type of energy, which is why people gravitate towards you the way that you do. Thank you for the work that you're doing for Lancaster and for setting the bar so that other people feel encouraged to climb that high. I don't know. I'm very, very, very happy that we were able to get this conversation for the finale, and I look forward to seeing you again. For the rest of you, y'all know the routine, and I'll see y'all later. It's been real. Season 2 is officially a wrap. God bless you all. Thank you for your support. Come back and see your boy in a couple months. I'm going to have a few new things for you. Remember to maintain focus and stay continuous through all 4 seasons. My name is Felix C. Arroyo, and these are the Journeyman Chronicles. And this is it for season 2. Peace.